We received a call about 6:30 in the morning on October 13th. We raided the aircraft, we took off. Once we got on scene, we were alerted for a sailing vessel. It was a French Kiss, about a 44-foot sailing vessel. It was on the Galveston jetties. When we arrived on scene, we basically observed that the actual vessel was out of the water and actually on the rocks themselves. And it was being battered by about 30-35 knot winds and about 6 to 8 foot seas.
And not only was it that high up on the rocks, but it was also tilted on its side close to 90 degrees, somewhere around that 70-degree mark.
There were 2 men on the boat. They were clinging onto the right side of the vessel, the starboard side. They did have some life jackets on, and they were just basically they were waiting for us to get on scene so they could at least get them off.
We elected to rescue the gentleman from the water as opposed to the boat based on there was no sure footing that we could put our rescue swimmer onto the boat in order to hook up straps to the gentleman or to then lower the basket. There was just no horizontal surface that would make for a safe evolution.
So we reassessed and we all agreed that we should put our rescue swimmer into the water and have him approach the boat from the port side up the current and climb onto the stern of the vessel, the port quarter, which was nearly submerged at this point. It was deteriorating pretty quick.
Well, when I finally got to the boat, he was waiting for me. So I just pulled myself to the boat and I told him to jump in the water. He had a life jacket on. And as soon as he jumped in, I put his back facing me and I grabbed his life jacket. It's called an equipment carry. And I hold him out of the way. He's floating. So I'm just pulling him from his life jacket. And I want to get away from the jetties far enough to where it's safe enough to hoist.
I put the rescue basket onto the hook after we got the signal from our rescue swimmer that would be the pickup method. I lowered the basket to about 10 feet above the water and I conned my pilot in within 5 feet of the rescue swimmer and the survivor, and then I lowered the basket into the water, and then the rescue swimmer helped the survivor into the basket and then gave me the pickup signal.
So I didn't realize, I think on the first hoist, how tough it was going to be to get back to the boat after the first hoist. Because once I got the older gentleman, I swam him out, and then on the way back to get the younger gentleman, it was tough. It's probably the hardest I've had to swim operationally.
Had he been able to quickly rescue the second person and get them in the water, there's a very good chance that we were going to have to leave Petty Officer Moore in the water by himself while we took the survivors to the beach. Our helicopter is very limited on how much weight we can take, and luckily it took Shane several minutes took Petty Officer Moore several minutes to get back to the boat. It allowed us to burn enough gas to lower our weight to be able to save both our rescue swimmer and the second survivor.
Once we picked them both up, we recovered our swimmer, and we departed the scene. But before we even landed at the airport, which is only about 5 minutes away, they reported the boat had been washed off the jetties and it began sinking.
We have a small video and it shows like the sailboat moving every time the wave hits it. And at the end of it all, once we rescued these people, the sailboat fell off the rocks and sunk.
The next day, they went out to assess the boat for pickup, and the boat was never found. It had completely sunk and washed away with the current.
What we do every day is what we do in the real world. We train constantly for situations like this. And although you never know really what's going to happen once you get on scene, we work really well as a team. We have a lot of standardization, and it always pays off whenever we work together and pick people up and recover them to their families.
Please welcome tonight's awardees from Coast Guard Air Station Houston. Lieutenant Derek Lair, Lieutenant Aaron Gill, AEE-2 Ryan Beard, AST-3 Shane Moore,